was popular YouTube. So we got something a little bit different today. I got an aim training routine that I've devised. It's a condensed 15-minute aim training routine that I've come to after listening to a bunch of different pros over the past couple months. And I got Leetify to sponsor the video. Shout out to Leetify for sponsoring this video. This is a tool I've been using to track my aim progress every day to make sure that I've been constantly improving. So I scammed Leetify into sponsoring this video, even though I would have put them in the video whether or not they sponsored it. So thank you so much, Leetify, for coming on. I'll leave links in the description for Leetify, and you can use that to track your different aim categories and make sure you're making progress as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. The last 15-minute aim training routine you'll ever need, powered by Leetify, and it's all done right here in AimBots. So number one, first things first, aim is about comfort. We're gonna be using AimBots for this whole thing. So first I set up AimBots like this, and I shoot a hole in the wall to see if my arm is comfortable on the table. Comfort, again, is paramount. And when I say comfortable, I mean your mouse should not be something that you fight with. You should be thinking about, imagine you're using a tablet and you were pointing at things on a tablet, like clicking on things. You should be that comfortable with your mouse. If you're not that comfortable with your mouse, try to use a different sensitivity. Maybe you need a different mouse. I mean, that could be a thing too. But for the most part, the sensitivity is going to make a huge difference. So, you know, try to bring it down if you feel like you're always fighting to get kills in the middle of the day. If you feel like you're comfortable in whatever sense, maybe you don't even need this part, but this is what you should focus on at first. Your mouse should be an extension of your arm. Don't forget that. Now, the next thing is going to be accuracy before speed. This is also something that's critically important, something that I learned from Rez. You will not improve your aim starting off too quickly. What's really important here is that when you're shooting at the bots, the beginning of the day, right after the morning coffee, make sure you're hitting 100% of your shots, like one bullet here, one bullet here, one bullet here. As slow as you need to go, just don't miss. And then start to speed it up as the practice goes on. But before that, just make sure your aim is comfortable. And when you're doing these micro adjustments, make sure your hand is comfortable. Here's the part where I actually like to stretch my hands out, which is just a good thing to do in general for the health of your hands. And do that in between kills. And just make sure I'm really warmed up mentally as well as physically for the day. And I'm nice and comfortable again. Here's where it gets a bit more fun. You increase the speed, but you stay accurate the whole time, right? The idea is 100% accuracy, okay? Like they say in the military, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Don't forget that either. That's also, you know, an important adage that you shouldn't forget. If you start to overflick, slow it down and go again. I think it's very easy to overflick. Most people will do that without being asked, but what you should do is make sure that you're not over flicking, and that's the whole point of going slow at first. When you're comfortable, you're not over flicking, introduce strafe tapping. This is very important. This is a stat, you know, like on Leetify, where you don't want this stat to be closer to 50 than to 100. Do you know what I mean? Like, these are free shots. You stop and shoot. I mean, this is the cornerstone of good mechanics in CSGO. You know a target's there, and you shoot before you stop and your bullet goes somewhere else, what are you doing? You're really wasting your time. So you might as well make sure your bullets go where you want them to, at where you're aiming. You put all the work aiming and your bullets don't go where you're aiming, what's the point? So I like to strafe tap and shoot all the way to one side on the row of bots, and then do the same thing in reverse and try to strafe tap and shoot all the bots. And then after I'm nice and comfortable, and again at 100% on my in sync with my strafing, stopping and shooting, I'll start to go back and forth and go for AD strafing or whatever you use, GD strafing. I don't know what your strafe keys are. After that, I introduce some speed here with the AD tapping, and then I introduce bursting, and you can see where this is going now. This will eventually become spraying. So once you're done with the bursting, you're done with the tapping, you're done with the AD movements in between, you're feeling loose, you're feeling comfortable. Now maybe you want to try to go for spraying straight up. For spraying, I like to pick a part of the wall. I like to pick a flat railing. I mean, even if I'm in warm-up in a map like Mirage or Dust 2 or something, I'll look for something where there's like a level playing field, like a car on Dust 2 or a sign on Mirage. And I'll try to spray every single bullet just above that bar, as if the bar is someone's shoulders and you're trying to spray everything for the head. When you're spraying, you also want your bullets to go for the head if possible. It's still the fastest way to kill people. But I like to keep this nice and simple and just try to keep a tight spray that's in that area and on the wall, to be very specific. And then when I turn it to the bots after I get a nice tight pattern, no matter how far I am away from the wall, I go back to the bots and then I aim for the head on one bot and spray and do a slight transfer over and just do that over and over again. That's pretty much all I feel like I need to do for my spray, and something that I feel like has helped a lot. To be honest, most of the work here is done just spraying on the wall, and then after that, the spray transfer is tied into your over flicking. If you're not over flicking before, you shouldn't be over flicking when you're spraying. And remember, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And now when you spray the bots, you're feeling really good. I like to just jump around a little bit, mentally remember what I just did, all of my discipline, all of my techniques, crouching, strafe tapping, speed tapping, bursting, everything, AD strafing. And now I end with higher intensity, but I just do everything. A little bit of bursting, a little bit of tapping. Pretend these bots are shooting back at you. Start to shoot a little bit faster. Now, keeping an eye on the kills, I should be coming up to the 800 kill mark or something like that at this point in this 15-minute exercise. And now that I've done this, like I've combined everything, I'm feeling very comfortable. I feel like I'd win duels if these bots were shooting back. Now I'll end with the ultimate intensity with a couple of rounds of the aimbots challenge and just do 100 kills and really just kind of as fast as you can until your eyes start watering a little bit, until your fingers are a bit, you know, they're not sore. You're not actually, you know, hurting yourself, but just to replicate some intensity, like you actually care about getting these kills. Like that should be very important to replicating the pressure of a real match. So I like to do a little bit of the aimbots and do a couple of 100 kills here. And then you should be around 1,000 kills. Should be about 15 minutes. And you've also just grinded out every single part of your aim. And if you do this every day, it follows through and you're nice and routine about it. Like I said, you know, I use Leetify. I have improved in all of these stats categories. I still could obviously improve even further, and I'm going to. One thing I learned from Blame F is routine is key. One thing I learned from Rez is start off slow. One thing I learned from Cold Zera is just to introduce like variety when you're practicing. And those are a few of the pros that I've listened to and looked at their routines. And I'm sure that if you use this yourself, you will also be able to improve every single stats category. And I highly recommend using Leetify to make sure you can check on it yourself. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed that. And I'll also upload the full aim practice 15 minutes on my side channel and link to it here in the description below. Thank you so much for watching.